Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss what Kamadhenu, the native Indian divine cow, and methane gas. At the same time, talk of the divine chemistry of the Rig Veda. We started chemistry to start the divine design of nature and divine chemistry of elements from atom and elements as such. Now come to the question of we are going to see in the light of Divyang from elementary chemistry right at the highest step by step as we move on. Now come to the question of the chemistry of the periodic table. Periodic table is the greatest contribution of the modern scientist with the kind of precision which I would say excellent and excellent. There is no doubt about it. There are 7 periods and 18 groups. They stand out very clearly. But today we are going to talk in the terms of drama of methane gas, which has a 10 protons, union of 4 hydrogen and 1 carbon atoms as such put together. You can see the picture. This is methane all about. Today the center of concentration or contemplation is only methane. Now we'll talk in terms of the solar system. We have the 3 different kinds of planets, 4 inner planets, then middle planets and the outer planets. Now let's see the atmosphere of the solar system as such. The terrestrial or inner planets are the 4 we have already discussed. We are not going to talk about it. And gas and other ice thing we will talk about when time comes to that. But outer planets is something which is focused here as such. Now the divine of drama of methane, let's understand. Methane has got 1 carbon and 4 hydrogen equivalent to 10, and oxygen has 4 oxygen 13 leads to water formation, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen 10. So 10 and 10 protons are seen when they put together, and then you find carbon dioxide is formed, and that's it. And now you can see the same picture down as such. Methane plus oxygen equal to carbon dioxide and water. I am making a statement that Mother Earth also had 97% carbon dioxide to start with, as we have seen in Mercury, Venus and Mars. These are 4 had it, but because of photosynthesis other things, we have come to form 21% carbon dioxide and 78% nitrogen as such. And this is nitrogen and methane is common with the other 2 projects which I am going to show you as we proceed. Now come to the question of the outer planets. Titan is around Jupiter and it has got 3.5% methane. Titan has 96% nitrogen. These 2 put together are 99.5% of these 2 things only. Pluto has 2.5 methane and has 97%. That is also the same thing at 99.5%. And these both have got methane and nitrogen as such. Mother Earth has 21% oxygen, which was carbon dioxide 97. Now it has become oxygen 21 and nitrogen 78. So you see here nitrogen, that's one concentration. Why nitrogen? We will talk about it when we come to that stage. But we can definitely say there was a reduction of carbon dioxide in the Mother Earth to oxygen is one part, but focus let it be only on methane gas, not other gases. Now the divine chemistry of methane we are going to say. These are the 6 pictures which we use in different forms on the earth to produce methane gas itself and use it exclusively for that particular purpose. So methane is a gas as such used in different forms which helps in the formation of carbon dioxide and other things. This cycle of methane to carbon dioxide with the help of oxygen, which I talked about it, is something played on the earth even today. That's one thing is very clear. Methane plus oxygen to carbon dioxide and water formula you can see here too. And that is what was started in the universe to start with is found on the earth being done by the people also at the same process. This process is going on. But let me also tell you at we proceed, it is the plants which use carbon dioxide and water and form into carbon dioxide, the oxygen plus carbohydrates. And human cells use carbohydrates and oxygen put together to produce again carbon dioxide and water. This is a cycle which is very consistent as such. Methane plus oxygen to carbon dioxide plus water, carbon dioxide plus water put together in photosynthesis to carbohydrate plus oxygen, and human cells carbohydrate plus oxygen to produce carbohydrate water, and that's a circle which is going on. So it's a beautiful chemistry from high to the middle to the human level, everywhere is same, and that is the interesting part. You are going to talk about photosynthesis, the next one. Now let's review the literature. How did Indian sages know about methane gas? The spiritual science of Akhand Bharat is something which stands out, and I make it one thing very clear. Brahmins who wrote Vedas, Upanishads and scriptures in Sanskrit were highly scientific in nature. They are spiritual scientists. They knew everything, but the system of expression was very, very different. Today modern science is seeing the elemental chemistry in an organic form or inorganic form, or atoms, molecules, elements, etc., etc., etc. But ancient India as a concept, modern science recognizes three states: solid, water and gases, but Indians knew it as a 5 different stages. And those 5 stages, the way they expressed when 5 things in Panchbhutas, I think that makes them stand it out, because they saw the applied part and made the organism which is using it in such a subtle way that only intelligent Brahman can understand what is written in those scriptures. Anyone who is not in tune with universal consciousness can never even dream of decoding the wisdom written in Ved, Upanishads, or scriptures which are in Sanskrit by and large. I am not talking of any other language. I am talking of the only Veds, Upanishads and Puranas, or some scriptures which are in Sanskrit by and large. Now come to the question of very important concept which started in Sagar Manthar, Samudra Manthar, a churning of the primordial ocean. That is most important story which I know has given me the wisdom of the highest order, because everything which was created in the universe descended on through the water on the earth, and it all got collected in the primordial ocean as such, and life started in primordial ocean once again, starting even from the smallest part to the highest part, it all with warm water of this. Even cells were formed, organs were formed, compounds were formed, everything was in warm water ocean only. Sunlight, warm water, Agni, that's no wonder Rig Ved's center focus is always Agni Bhuta, and sun is also Agni Bhuta, and that is responsible for warm water and everything in the water as such. So from Sagar Manthan you see the beauty of real chemistry and other things emerging only in the water. The ocean is the greatest creator by and large. Everything without water there is nothing, and with water, that warm water, saline water and other things very, very important. And I think from there a new journey of science starts unfolding from ancient Indian times. So let me say, long back the gods and demons decided to work in unison to get Amrit, immortal nectar from the ocean. That was the prime objective, because all wanted to live for years together and do not want to suffer from any disease and become very powerful, both gods and demons. Aditi's children as well Diti's children, both put together working for Amrit, Amrit and Amrit only. They tied a snake called Vasuki around the Mount Meru in the ocean, which was sported by Kurma avatar, and started churning the primordial ocean. I think that beautiful story. Matsya to Kurma. Last I talked about Matsya, now we talk of Kurma. During churning, many essential objects emerged from the ocean step by step. Today, whatever knowledge we have in the world is all came from the ocean only. Ocean is source of everything, including knowledge at every level. Even churning of water in the ocean in cyclone is exactly like Divyank alone. I think A to Z is ocean. Now there are, this particular picture is a reflection of the same thing. Another picture You can see devas or godly people on one side and demons on other side. Put together doesn't really matter. And I don't call devas and something like godly and asuras thing. There are two different people. One is a perfect one, another is imperfect one. That's it. Perfection, imperfection, balance is going on between like Ida and Pingla nadis, and then churning the whole thing to get the wisdom from this. And in this particular picture, there are 14 things which have been shown very clearly. And these 14 things, one by one, I will be talking about in the coming videos to show as such. And in this particular picture, you can see right on left side, second from top is Kamadhenu. And that is the focus on today of Kamadhenu as such. Now this is the Kamadhenu divine cow Akhand Bharat. And when I say divine cow, I need it a native Indian cow only. I am not talking of the cows of the world as such. The one which is a pure vegetarian, gentle, perfect, like a divine mother, and they are considered divine mother, worshipped in India immensely and effectively, and prayed to God to give us whatever we want only to Mother. And this is the reality of India. Let's not talk of the cows which are fed non-vegetarian food, other things. Let's forget about that. Let's concentrate only on divine cows, Indian cows of Akhand Bharat as such. This is the perception of that particular thing it contains. Now come to the question of story of divine cow. It is said, but I'm not really, I'm just saying, I'm not necessarily I'm going to details of it or make a big sense of it. This is story. Kamadhenu. Kama means needs, Dhenu is given. The divine cow Kamadhenu can bestow everything is one statement which I understand. Kamadhenu was donated to Brahma Rishi Vishisht. This is what is said. I have nothing to talk about it. To provide all the essential needs of ashram, that is what statement is. No one can attack the hermit of Rishi. Brahma Rishi was also a concept which I will not go into details of it because I am not really so much. Is the story a fact or a spiritual science a fact? That is something which I want to talk about, something which has not been spoken by anybody till date in this concept. I am not talking of the philosophical stories, those things. Let's talk of spiritual science as such. I believe there is a hidden impeccable wisdom in this story of Kamadhenu, which people have missed as such. Now come to the question of spiritual science of Kamadhenu. I mean, is it talked about methane gas only? Carbon plus 4 hydrogen put together is the methane gas, that is very divine energy form as such. That is Agni which I talk about it. It has the potential Agnibhuta which Rigved is talking about and other scriptures also talking about. And I make one thing very clear, that Indian cow dung can contain 61.8034% carbon dioxide or methane gas along with other concepts which can develop from it. Primarily, quote in quote, can 61.8034 methane gas is the prime source asset which can go further to do other things. We'll talk about it later. The cow dung is used as fuel in gas stoves. You can see the picture very clearly in India. Cows are there found everywhere, and cow dung is collected, put there in made into form, and then they are used as such for cooking purposes. And this is the first basic example of gas stoves made of cow dung which use methane gas as such. Now we are going to talk about the spiritual science of Kamadhenu. You see then how the dung is collected together. You can see the picture of cow and methane gas getting into the biogas reactor, and how it is methane gas is burnt together in carbon dioxide and how it comes down, and the whole process which I started, methane plus oxygen into carbon dioxide plus water. This process is seen in this picture very clearly, and it is cow dung which is used, and that is the manual which I am talking about. And I think once this picture is understood, you know very well, they knew very well we have to pray to cow, Kamadhenu, for cow dung to start with, and then particular concept. This part is not blessed. Even it is used to purify the homes, and it is lot of vitamin B12, etc., etc. I come from the village where floors are cleaned with cow dung only. And cow urine is also used for purification, and cow is worshipped and everything, and I totally agree with it. Now comes to the question of anaerobic formation of methane is a search scientific. Why in semi-continuous anaerobic digester cow dung was reported to produce 77.32 liters per kilogram of biogas with a methane content of 57.23. This is their content, but I do know it should produce 61.8034% carbon dioxide. But the fact even 57.23% methane gas by scientists itself is worth being considered as something very important from their experiment, and that is what the picture is showing very clearly. Now come to the question anaerobic digestive system as such. I am not going to detail, but let us just concentrate on one side. Left side you can see manure and few different food forms which are more or less the one which is the organic material which goes into the pre-processing, and how anaerobic digestion takes place, and how methane gas comes, and how methane gas is further converted into different forms of application including electricity, thermal, fuel, liquid form as well as solid form. I think this is a great scientific approach by the modern science to talk in terms of cow dung or other organic wastes which are organic in nature, vegetarian origin, and how they can be converted into methane and into different forms of energy, and prove it that Vedic Agni Bhuta is focused on this very clearly. Now come to the question of, we talked of the methane, I talked of the urine, and I talked of cow dung, etc. That is one part, and the loving nature of Kamadhenu is also well known. Kamadhenu milk is as beneficial as mother's milk is a statement which I am making with A2 milk of Kamadhenu. Indian cows can give you A2 milk, not A1. The love of Kamadhenu is benevolent for everyone, and this particular picture of scientific origin shows glucose is converted into glucose plus how it is converted into lactose. Again, glucose is the primary carbohydrate which is used for energy, but then you have maltose and lactose as such. Milk has got lactose, and this particular process of how glucose is converted into glucose phosphate and then phosphate and then finally to lactose is the process which is explained. The cow dung methane milk A2 is lactose as such, and lactose is used effectively for many beneficial things. We are going to talk of that as one step by step. Let me tell you, cow milk gives colostrum signs of Kamadhenu. The boosts metabolism and energy. It is used for allergies and immunity, reduces infection and inflammation, strengthens the digestive system, reduces cases of cancer. So even the colostrum which comes from the cow in the beginning few days after delivering the fetus is very, very beneficial, and that is given to the cow's fetus as well as the human beings as source of great metabolism, energy, infection, allergy, everything as such. I think that is the greatest thing. But how concentration is very concentrated and slowly dissolves and becomes reduces over a period of time thing. And in here I have shown you 4 systems, and what is the first day and what is in 21 days. Up to 21 days colostrum is formed as such in a slow disease concentration, and then work shows that Divyank is found in this particular concept also very clearly. Now come to the question of another aspect. Formation of probiotic curd for life enhances digestive system. After antibiotics infection, you take curd as such. It will reduce all the infection side effects of antibiotics and other thing and give you back the probiotic effect is beneficial. And also this cow milk is excellent for speech because it's a tryptophan as serotonin is found, and to take curd, lassi otherwise, you can happily go to sleep for 1 or 2 hours if you really want to relax and concentrate on the sleep and enjoy as such. So cow curd is very beneficial from that point of view. Now the comes to the question of another aspect which I am talking about is paneer, cottage cheese. The cottage cheese made of Kamadhenu is 1,000 times better than by buffalo or non-Indian cows, and the amount of paneer which can be formed from Indian cow is double the content you find from other sources of paneer from milk of buffalo or non-Indian cows. I think this is the concentration you can see first picture, and how second with lemon being put together in a worm, and then finally how the paneer is formed, how is given as the color which is yellow in nature, and how lactic acid comes out, and how this whole process is very interesting to see how it can help person to gain protein essential, very soft and gentle, good for health and good for everything. I think that is something which I would say ancient knew very well. Pray to the cow, Kamadhenu, in every way, including the milk, including the cow, including the urine, and of course something more which I am going to talk about it as we go on. Now come to the question, advantage of A2 milk as such. It's an integrated health and regeneration is very important with Indian cow. Anti-aging and strong teeth and bones are very effectually found when you take this milk alone. Improves muscles and physical body. Improves mind, strength and intelligence, relieves fatigue, stress and skin aura, improves divine auspiciousness, strengthens spiritual integration. If you want to be spiritually enlightened, want to be a spiritual scientist, please make sure at least half a liter of cow milk of A2 types of the Indian one, which is purely fed on vegetarian and naturally allowed and taken care without any drug or other thing be given to them, they would give you 1,000 times better quality of milk, cow dung, urine and other things to the extent you can't even imagine. And once that is understood, I think we can become very good spiritual scientists, provided we are focused only on Indian cows and take care of them like mothers, help them. They will provide you protection at every stage, give you everything is required including cooking, etc., etc. I think what more advantage you expect from any animal which has been given so much importance in Indian scriptures. And I think this stands out as the first examples of application of ancient Indian chemistry to see this is what is required, and I think I have gained quite a lot. Now in this picture you can see the same Sagar Manthan very clearly. You can see the mount in the mirror is so-called Meru mountain is a Sushmana Nadi. Ida and Pingla are the two ones which had got perfect and perfect, and they are the churning together, and the things which are coming out is exactly seen in this particular picture. It's really the picture of the ocean and churning it and everything coming it out, and 10 chakras, and I would say A to Z is there in this, and I think this is enough for the time being. I think once we understand this kind of ancient Indian wisdom in the light of modern science, put together, and the spiritual science gives you 1,000 times better to be applied in day-to-day life. And I think that is objective Akhand Vidyashram. Give you the impeccable wisdom in the light of Divyank and give you the perfection which is useful for healthy, wealthy, wise and happy life. And having done that, I think I am very happy. I am applying these things in my life. Even at 74, I can still feel as young as 21 in every way. And once that is done, it gives you basic senses very perfect, mind very calm and quiet, intelligence, intuition, wisdom, which is unheard of in them. Because my primary source of energy is from vegetarian things only, not non-vegetarian at all, no alcohol, no drugs, nothing at all, just with the natural thing as given by the ancient Indian Brahmins. I am just following them as such and seeing the advantage which I find is over everybody else. As a result, I am not a Democrat, I am not a diplomat, I am not this, but I can share the knowledge from self-experience to the world, which is required for the good of everybody. Somebody had to collect the ancient Indian wisdom once again in the light of modern science, give the divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine biology, divine medical sciences. And that, I think, has given me a pleasure that all the problems which medical education throughout the world has been defective is being rectified step by step, and as we proceed, more and more information is going to be more and more beneficial for everybody. Whole objective of Akhand Vidyashram is only that, nothing other than that, is for benefit of every being in the world, just for the love of perfection, and that is what Sanatana Dharma talks about it. It's not any selfish for money, name, fame, or divide and other thing. It's not a religion, it's a spiritual science, and I think that makes a difference very clearly. Thank you very much.